about pathing. We talked about relative path versus absolute path. We'll do a quick review of that. So a relative path is a path from where I am now, whereas an absolute path, of course, is a path from the beginning or the root of the system. We also talked about the cd command some. We looked at the dot and dot dot directories to allow us for some navigation. Let's see, what else did we look at last week? We talked about the pwd command for the current working directory, and I'll go ahead and demonstrate that on my screen here. So it says I'm in R Foster, so that's where I'm at right now. I think where we left off last week was begin to talk about some wildcards or flags. So let's turn to page 317, meta characters. We began to talk about this some, so 3-17 in your book. What are you doing, Zoe? Sorry, everybody. So I'm a little bit disorganized today. I'm on a new PC. I'm still getting it all set up. So on page 317, we talked about the tilde command. We talked about the plus, the minus, the asterisk, which we called a splat. Talk about the question mark. We talked about the one of the things we didn't talk about though is the brackets. So we'll get into that. And brackets will be used as test conditions. And we won't get into that exactly right now, but by the end of this class, we're going to look a little bit at shell scripting, and we'll show you some test conditions with those. But on page 318, we talked about using the plus and the minus to navigate back and forth. We covered that last week, and the dash. And the dash just takes us back to our home directory. So on our screen here, if I cd to /etc/ just Etsy, and then do a listing of my directory, and if I do a cd to tilde, then yeah, it does exist. What's my shell? Let me make sure I'm in the right shell here real quick. I'm in a different shell, I think, from you guys. So if I cd to tilde and I do a pwd, it takes me back to my home directory. So we looked at that. We also looked at the asterisk, but we didn't do a lot with the asterisk. So let's turn to page 320 and let's look at that. Some of this is a little bit review. We covered some of it. So for in our student directories, and I'm just going to go to /export /user. We'll grab a 15 here. I believe it was user 15. Yeah. So if I do an ls of f and then an asterisk, what I'm saying is it has to begin with F, and everything else I don't care about, and it will only show me the F files. Another thing that we haven't looked at here is also the exclamation point. Now, that's not in your book or on the page, but we use exclamation points as a pattern matcher if we want to do a specific length. So, for example, if I want to say do a ls of dir, and notice on my screen I have dir1, dir2, dir3, and dir4. So dir is 3 characters. What if I back that up to di, so I'm only using 2 characters? I can now do a question mark, question mark. So I'm saying I don't know what these other 2 characters are, but it has to have 2 characters. So if I do this, it's only going to list dir1, dir2, dir3, and dir4. So that's something that's not in our book, but it's something just to know, because as we're looking at our pattern matching later on in the book, that'll help you make sense. Actually, here it is. Never mind. It's right here on page 321. I'm just not paying attention to the book myself. So they do an ls of dir and just exclamation point. Same type of scenario though that I just demonstrated. Now for square brackets. Now square brackets is if I want to match a range of characters. So we've demonstrated a splat. I said ls FIL splat, and that says show me everything. Go back from my terminal. ls FIL splat, and that says show me everything. And we said do an ls of FILE, and then exclamation point, and that shows me file 1, file 2, and file 3. And someone has told me my screen is not showing in the Hangout, so let me see what's going on there. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't know you can see my screen. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Let me try to reshare my screen and see if that helps. Everyone see my screen now? Awesome. Sorry about that, everyone. Excellent. So let me just clear this out then, and we'll just start that whole little thing I was talking a second ago over with. So we'll start with the asterisk again. If I do an ls of this directory, we see that I have file 1, et cetera, et cetera. So if I do an fil, or just fil, whatever, and a splat, which we call asterisk splats, of course, I have to do an ls first. Then it's going to show me file 1, 2, 3, file 1, file 2, file 3. But notice I have some files with dots on the ends of them. So if I do a fil exclamation point So now let's look at the square brackets on page 322 in your book. So square brackets is a way if we want to do a range of stuff. So if I wanted to say, for example, what's a good one? They have their example in the book there, but let's do a different example. Let's say we know we have file 1, file 2, file.1, file.2, file.3. We have file 1, file 2, file 3, file 4. What if I only want to see file 1, file 2, file 3, and file 4? Then I could say ls file, and then I can use my square brackets to say I want to match a pattern. So I can say 1 through 4 and make that my pattern. And alrighty. So that pretty much ends this, and they want us to start doing the labs. Now, question real quick. Does everyone like doing the labs on their own, or do you want me to give you some time to do the labs and then maybe review them later? How does everyone suggest we do labs? Because this is the first real big lab that we had. Last one we kind of did together, but I think we've covered this well enough this time where you can do the labs yourselves, and then maybe we can go over the labs all when we're done. How about we stop here because it is Friday, and we let everyone do the lab, and then we can review the lab when everyone's done. Because I don't think you should take everyone over about 5-10 minutes to do the lab. Does that sound okay? Yeah, it's not necessary to send the results. The main thing is just to make sure. I mean, this is all about you. I want to make sure that you understand what's going on here. And if for some reason you don't understand something, then please ask a question. Okay, well then, since I'm not getting any feedback, but from Mr. Foster here, I will pause for about 5 minutes and let everyone do their labs, and then we'll rejoin this. So I'll give everyone about 5 minutes. So I'll leave the Hangout up, and we'll come right back. I'm going to pause for about 5 minutes or so, and we'll just leave the Hangout up, and then we will stay on the Hangout, and we'll go over the labs in the next 5 minutes or so. It shouldn't take you very long, and then we'll be done. And then Monday, we probably will do a longer class since we've had a couple of short classes, and do a little catch up. Okay, everyone, how's everybody doing? I'll edit this dead space out of our video so the people that see it online won't have the dead space. How are we all doing? Okay, so we have one person that says we're so lost, and they're back a couple of lessons, so they're playing catch up. So, hey, what about the Dunhams? They doing okay? Okay, so let's go over this lab together then. So starting on the very first one here, it says specify the absolute path name for user one. So if we do an ls, I'm in the wrong directory here. Actually, yeah, let's see. Okay, so if I do a pwd, that tells me my absolute path where I am now, starting from root or slash. So if I do an ls, I know that under this directory we have user1, coffees, and dir1. So export home is my directory, and I'm user 15, user 1 would be whatever. So the absolute path for user 1 would be, and I'll type this on the screen, slash export slash home slash user 1. And that would be the absolute path. For coffees, it would be slash export slash home slash your directory, whatever your user you are. In this case, I'm using 15, and then coffees. But we don't know where coffees is at, do we? So we have to find out where coffees is at. So coffees is probably in one of these directories. So let's cd to some of the directories and see what we have here. So let's cd to directory 1 and do a listing, and coffees is in there. So if I do a pwd, I am in export home, my user directory, dir1. So the absolute path for this would be slash export slash home slash user 1, or in my case 15, slash dir1 slash coffees. And that would be the absolute path. Does everybody get that okay? And I had someone ask, who am I? So how do we figure that out? So I could say, who am I? Excuse me, who am I? And it tells you who you are. So if you want to know who you are in the system, just run that command. Who am I? Okay, so pwd here. So did you cd to dir1? Because you have to change into the directory. So if I do a pwd here, I show that I'm an export home user 15. And I'm going to do an ls here to list the contents of the directory. So in here I have dir1. So now I'm going to cd, change directory, space, dir1, then run the list command again, and there's the files. Awesome. Okay, so make sure I'm in the right directory here. So next thing we need to find out is in the next set of questions, they want to know the relative path for dir3, flowers, and recipes. So first we got to find out where flowers and recipes is at, correct? So let's just look around in the system here. Let's go to dir2 and do an ls. And there's beans, notes, and recipes. Also, is there another way I can do this? Can I not just do ls dir2 and have it show me what's in the directory? Yes, I can do that also. So we can also do that for dir3. And there's planets. Let's try it for 4. And there's flowers. So now I know that if we're looking for the relative path of dir3, we can figure that out pretty easy, but we need to know where flowers and where recipes was. So we know that recipes is in dir2 and flowers is in dir4. So if I do a PWD, I'm an export home user 15. What would be the relative path then of dir1? Does anybody want to jump on that? Because the relative path is what? From where I am now. So the relative path would simply just be dir1. That's all it is. CD to dir1. That's the relative path. The absolute path for that would be /export /home /user 15 /dir1. That would be the absolute path, whereas the relative is just the directory because it's from where I am now. And right now, I'm in user 15. And if I do a list of those, and to answer Mr. Foster's question, how do we just get the data? Well, I just ran the list command. So I said list dir2, show me the contents of dir2. List dir3, show me the contents of directory 3. List dir1, and show me the contents of dir1. Type in PWD and see where you're at right now. I'll tell you what, hey, James, since you're behind, what we'll do is I'll take this offline with you as soon as we're done with this class, and we'll do some one-on-one time. We'll do it that way. So for Janine, where are we at? Are we okay with relative and absolute path? Awesome. Okay. So in the next part of the lab, they want you to tell the relative path names for dir1 subdirectories and files. What I'll probably have everyone do is, I think as James suggested, I'm going to let you finish the rest of the lab yourselves. You can record your answers in an email and send me your answers. That would be fantastic if that's okay with you guys. And then we can review the answers on Monday. Would that work for everyone? Awesome. Then have a good day, everyone. I'm going to stop the broadcast. Have a great weekend, and we'll look at all this Monday. And sorry, it's a little disjointed today. I'm trying to get everything working on the new laptop. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.